Hi, my name is Justin Miller, and in today's video I'm going to talk about how to create a simple trifold brochure in InDesign. Starting out in InDesign, we're going to go to File, New Document. The document we're going to set up is an 8.5 by 11 trifold brochure. Go ahead and select inches. Make sure the width is 11 and the height is 8.5. We're going to do 3 columns with a gutter width of 1/2 inch. For the margins, we're going to set it to 1/4 inch. We're also going to set the bleed to 1/8 inch. And I'll illustrate what all these settings do a little bit later in the video. Go ahead and hit create. What you're given when you first create the document, you can see the 3 columns that we created, a margin of 1/4 inch with a gutter between the 2 columns of 1/2 inch. You can also see the 1/8 inch bleed marker on the outside of the document as well. The reasoning behind the 1/2 inch gutter between each column is to keep each column consistently spaced after the document's folded. So as you can see, the fold falls right in between the gutter here. So as long as your content is spaced evenly within the column here, everything should look nice and line up well. So depending on how your document will be printed will affect how your document is set up. If we were printing this in-house, we would just format all of our imagery to just come straight to this margin line and not go past the margin or into the bleed mark area here. 1/4 margin is safe for most printers to utilize most of an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. If we were printing this with a professional printer, we could take advantage of using a bleed, which means we could take our imagery and bring it clear to the edge of our paper. A little bit more expensive and requires a little extra setup, but usually ends up in a more professional end result. Here's a quick tip and something I usually do with most of these documents. I'll create a 1/4 inch box and I'll make it a bright color just so I don't leave it in the document by mistake. But I'll use this as a guide throughout my document. So it's the exact same width as the margin, and I'll use it as a spacer between different elements, whether it's type, graphics, photos. Just use it as a way to separate all the items, and it kind of helps add a little bit of consistency throughout the document. Be sure to delete this or leave it off your artboard when you go to export your document. So the following is a dummy brochure that I've put together for a fictional drone business. I just want to kind of illustrate how imagery, typography, and icons could be used in a cohesive way to help deliver the information in an effective manner. This is an example of a full bleed brochure. So all of the imagery and color and graphics all are extended out to this red line here. And here in a little bit, I'll show you how I export this document and prepare it for the printer. To toggle to more of a preview view, you hit W on your keyboard and it strips away all of the guides and different things like that. So you can just see your artwork and kind of get a step back and look at it. This is the outside of the brochure, and this is the inside of the brochure. A few quick things. As far as typography, it's important to have a cohesive type in your document. We have one size for a title, one size for kind of a subhead, and another size for body copy. And this is the same throughout the document. All the photos are treated in a similar manner, as well as the graphics and icons that we created. I'm using a lot of the same angles in all of the different photos and fill colors. A lot of times I'll just rotate or flip on an axis to kind of add a little bit of variety here. It's also important to note how the document panels interact with each other, not just on the inside, but on the outside. And as you're opening the document, you have to think about this panel here, when you're opening it, is going to be next to this panel here, which is on the inside. I've put together this little dummy brochure that's got the cover and the inside. The cover represented by A, B, and C, and the inside represented by D, E, and F. As you can see, as you open the brochure, being mindful of how the inside and outside interact, as you can see, the A panel from the outside will be right next to the D panel from the inside. Does the information on both of these pages work together to provide clear information to help sell the product or service that you're trying to deliver? As far as exporting your document, after everything is in place, the client is happy with the messaging, and you're ready to go to print. Make sure that all of their imagery that is extended past the page here is at least touching the red line. Looks like this image here is a little bit off, so I'll enlarge that just slightly. So you want to go to File, Export, or Command E. Choose where you want to place your brochure and hit Save. And I'm going to be replacing that one. So here in the export dialog box, you're given all your options that you can add to your final document. I wouldn't mess with any of these compression settings. Most of these are just down sampling different images from 450 to 300. For print purposes, 300 is plenty. I wouldn't touch any of these options here. So the main area here will be marks and bleeds. So we want to go ahead and select crop marks. I usually don't turn on bleed marks. Registration mark, that'll put little crosshairs so that when the printer is printing on both sides, they're able to line up the documents a little bit better. Color bars you sometimes turn on, and page information, which just kind of overlays the document name on the bottom of the page. And then I also select use document bleed settings as well. So as far as the crop marks, you can control how thick those lines are and then how far off from the artwork they are offset as well. So once you're happy with all of the settings here, go ahead and hit export. And then go to the folder where you exported it and preview that document. As you can see, the color bars are across the top. You have the colors on the right side and the grayscale on the left. And if you're doing a large run of these, this is handy for the printer to have because they can see if there's any color shifts that are happening throughout the duration of your print. Here are the registration marks that they can use to better align each side if it's being duplexed, which this is a brochure, so it is being duplexed. As you can see, the crop marks, our artwork is extended past the crop marks, and the reasoning behind having a bleed and crop marks is no printer is perfect. So that really allows for a little bit of error on the printer side of things and allows for a little bit of shifting because no printer is exactly perfect when it's printing on both sides of the paper. At the bottom of the page, you can see the document name, the date, and the time that you exported the document. So once you're happy with the export there, go ahead and send it off to the printer. They may have a few other requirements needed, but for the most part, that's all that they'll need. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you got any value from this video, be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment. It really helps me out a lot. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.